Hello, my name is Andrew O. Jackson. I am creating this video series entitled The Personal Power of Chi, a Revolution in Sports Psychology, with the intent that athletes of all levels and abilities, and no matter what their sport, can understand, access, and actualize their evolutionary self of strength, speed, stamina, agility, reflexes, cunning, and success. Chapter 4, Ignoring Emotions Warning Signals, is about how tolerating or ignoring bad feeling emotions, moods, attitudes, and feelings is not the same as ignoring or tolerating physical aches and pains. Emotional aches and pains, if ignored, tolerated, and not taken care of, will have devastating consequences on a coach or athlete's health, well-being, and effective and successful decision-making and their actualization. Negative, bad feeling emotions, moods, attitudes, and feelings have an evolved correlation with the lack of strength, speed, stamina, agility, and cunning that will at a minimum sabotage success and at worst are indicators of a weakened physiology that is prone to accidents and injury, especially during the heat of competition when a strong, healthy, and vital physiology is a necessity. To ignore, tolerate, and disregard disempowering, bad feeling, and negative cognitive emotional states of being is to sabotage one's own performance and health and to risk season ending and even career ending injury. Before we begin, I want to reiterate that the terms cognitive and cognition refer to activities and processes of awareness and knowing of the mind, such as perceiving, conceiving, remembering, reasoning, judging, imagining, and problem solving, where understanding and comprehension of thoughts, ideas, and beliefs can project future consequences and events. I also want to state that I group emotions, moods, attitudes, and feelings together because they either feel good as an evolved indicator of a healthy biochemical and neurological physiology or feel bad as an evolved indicator of an unhealthy biochemical and neurological physiology. Does a coach or an athlete have the cognitive emotional awareness to understand that bad feeling emotions, moods, attitudes, and feelings are evolutionary indicators of a disempowering, disabling, and ineffective neurological and biochemical physiology? And then does the coach or athlete have the capacity to reprocess their disempowering emotional negative cognitions, especially during the heat of competition on the field of play, into empowering, emotionally positive cognitions that correlate with a healthy biochemical and neurological physiology that precipitates the strength, speed, stamina, agility, reflexes, cunning, and success, and the actualization of a superior world-class performance? We all have been taught what a mountain is, and because of this, we have a common belief that the mountain exists independently of our observation of it. But the mountain exists as it does because we have been taught to believe it so. The mountain range I'm going to talk about is the dangerous practice of athletes tolerating emotional pain as if it were equivalent to physical pain. Physical discomforts and pain were just everyday occurrences when growing up on a Wisconsin farm in the 1950s. In the winter, I learned that when the extreme pain subsided from running lukewarm water over my frozen hand meant that my hand had thawed out. The one time when cleaning out the barn, I did complain about being cold. My father just gave me a bigger shovel and told me to work harder. So the pain of a nail going through my foot when stepping on an old board or breaking an arm or wrist or collarbone or losing a few layers of skin to where you see the flesh underneath when my bike slid out on the gravel, or pain for any other reason was meant to be tolerated until the body healed. In athletics, isn't there a saying, no pain, no gain? Negative, bad feeling emotions are the pain centers for the brain, and emotional pain should not be tolerated nor ignored like the physical pain of the body. Disregarding negative, bad feeling emotions, moods, attitudes, and feelings does not signify that the biochemistry and neurology in the brain is regaining its balance and is healing. On the contrary, the existence of emotional pain means that an athlete still has a nail going through their foot or their arm is broken. Something must be done to rehabilitate and reestablish one's own inner cognitive emotional dynamics of reprocessing disempowering, bad feeling, emotional negative cognitions into empowered, feeling good, and healthy cognitions. This is not an option. Understanding the power of emotions and what that power is vital for every athlete to successfully compete, no matter what their sport and what their position is in that sport. Not until the emotions are understood will their true power be revealed. Disassociating, ignoring, or camouflaging any unaddressed emotionally negative feelings will be revealed with a substandard performance and, even more dramatically, with an injury. To cognitively will behavior while ignoring one's own emotional state of being is to ignore one's own physical and mental health and well-being with possible disastrous consequences. Emotions have meaning. Negative emotions have meaning. Negative feeling, emotions, moods, attitudes, and feelings are a message, like the check engine light on the dashboard of a car. They are telling you that your physical and mental state of being is questionable. Remember, health, well-being, and effective decision-making have an evolved correlation with positive and good feeling emotions, moods, attitudes, and feelings. Negative, bad feelings correlate with their negation, their absence, their lack. As an athlete, you now know that your cognitive emotional state of being is as important or even more important than the reflexes and physical state of the body that took years and years of physical training to develop. Your athletic strength, speed, agility, cunning, and success all have an evolved correlation with your good feeling emotions, moods, attitudes, and feelings. How many years have you devoted to cognitive emotional reprocessing development to feel good throughout a competition, no matter what the score is? There will be no comeback until you first get into a dominating cognitive emotional state of well-being. And if you are leading in the game, unless you keep your ruling state of cognitive emotional being, your success will be short-lived. Now you know. When an athlete ignores or covers up emotional pain with, quote, medications, they are ignoring a weakened and vulnerable physiology when it is needed the most in competition. If an athlete understands what I have been saying, they will have realized that when a player is trying to outperform their usual self because of a need to overcome a scoring deficit or a skill deficiency against an opposing player, that is, when they are really pushing their body's capacity to perform, and at the same time they are ignoring any emotionally negative signals which signify a weakened physiology, what is going to happen? If a player wants to perform at their best, when a player wants to eliminate sports injuries, they need to develop their empowered, positive, and good feeling cognitive emotional state of being that correlates with health, well-being, and effective and successful decision-making prowess and their actualization. The time has come for athletic suicides to end. A promising Wisconsin long distance runner took her own life. How is it possible that an athlete with the resources, expertise, and academic resources of a university such as Wisconsin did not get the care and coaching she needed? She was undermined by the universal acceptance of burnt hand disease. This is an allegory. People keep coming into a clinic with burnt hand disease. The pharmaceutical industry has developed a series of medications to relieve the symptoms of the diseased biochemical signature. They have empirical evidence that demonstrates the effectiveness of their medications. Doctors are given the confidence to prescribe these medications to their patients, but these prescriptions are specifically for symptom relief and are not a cure. Research has found that if a patient with minimal burn, no medication is necessary. If they have a second-degree burn, stronger medications are needed. And if they have a third-degree burn, more radical and invasive measures must be taken. In fact, these patients may be on medication for the rest of their lives. Researchers compiled the empirical evidence that shows that all these instances of burnt hand have a common biochemical signature, and papers and books are published on the phenomenon of burnt hand disorder and dysfunction. But with all these years and years of research, studies, papers, books, articles, no one has asked why. Why do these people ignore the pain and put their hand on the hot stove? And further, why do some people leave their hand on the hot stove such that the pain becomes so unbearable that they commit suicide? I am asking you, why do some people ignore their emotional pain, abuse their brain, and continue to dwell upon negative feeling thoughts, ideas, images, and perspectives? Why do people continue to dwell within a negative feeling, emotion, mood, attitude, or feeling that physically damages their biochemical and neurological physiology? Why do we see all these ads for pharmaceutical relief and nothing about the cognitive emotional reprocessing skill development that is required to get the cognitive mind off the hot stove? There are consequences of missing cognitive emotional reprocessing health education curriculum in education, social services, mental health, and criminal justice. Warning 1, health, well-being, effective decision-making ability, and their actualization for an individual's successful life is incapacitated because of an individual's lack of skills, tools, understandings of their own cognitive emotional reprocessing dynamics to maintain the necessary positive, good feeling, empowered state of being. Warning 2, ignorance of the involved correlation between positive, good feeling, emotion, moods, and feelings, and a person's healthy, strong, and robust neurology, biochemistry, and physiology sabotages a necessary desire and motivation to pivot off negative, bad feeling, and disempowering cognitive emotional dynamics and their capacity to ward off sickness, illness, and injury. Warning 3, how reliable are existing psychological research studies, papers, and books in literature, sociology, psychology, medicine, philosophy, religion, and law if variation within a population's capacity for reprocessing, restructuring, and reorganizing their own cognitive emotional dynamics for health, well-being, and success is unaccounted for? Warning 4, are students and athletes being limited in their ability to be successful in school, athletics, and life because of a systemic and systematic emotional linguistics that denies humanity's natural and evolved cognitive emotional reprocessing mechanism and education deficiencies in cognitive emotional reprocessing health education? An empowering cognitive emotional health education curriculum is an absolute must in today's education, social services, mental health, and criminal justice reform. Without an accompanying text or explanation of cognitive emotional reprocessing behaviors, preschool and primary school language and literary educators are indoctrinating their students with an erroneous psychological linguistics of emotional driven behavior and control and sabotaging their students' future. These same teachers can augment their students' emotional awareness and understanding with readily available, age-appropriate, cognitive emotional reprocessing content. Karine Baruch Fielman and Rebecca Camizio have developed a wonderful textbook called The Resilience Workbook for Kids, 32 Skills to Build I Can Do It Muscles. I have written 2 books on the subject, Cognitive Emotional Health Education, a primary and secondary school overview, and The Personal Power of Chi, an athlete's heritage of strength, speed, stamina, agility, cunning, and success. My publications are freely available as downloadable PDFs from my websites, symbioticpsychology.com and emotional-evolution.com. Cognitive emotional reprocessing health education is a must in education, social services, mental health, and criminal justice reform. Why are gun manufacturers being held accountable for society's lack of cognitive emotional reprocessing education that is necessary for individual health, well-being, and successful and effective decision-making and their actualization? As in sailing and life, the opportunity is there to enjoy. It is our responsibility to make it so. Success depends on it. Effective and successful decisions will not be actuated in a vortex of negativity. Enjoying life is necessary for physical health. Enjoying life is necessary for mental well-being. Enjoying life is necessary for effective and successful decision-making. Enjoying life is necessary for the actualization of that which is wanted, desired, and intended. If an athlete or coach wants, desires, and intends to succeed in sports competition and to have a world-class performance, they must enjoy themselves. For within their joy lies the empowered, good-feeling neurological and biochemical physiology of the brain and body that is necessary to support and maintain a world-class performance. Because joy has an evolved correlation with health, well-being, and success, we have evolved to be joyous beings. When joy and good feelings permeate your life, practice, and competition, good things happen. I wish you all a successful and joyous life. It is there for you to enjoy and to make whatever you desire, want, and intend. Namaste.